7 p.m. Join me in saying the pledge, Sharon.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
We'll review the housekeeping items as we do before every meeting. Board, when speaking, please move close to your microphone to ensure you are heard clearly for the YouTube streaming. And I request that citizens who speak to adjust the height and stand close to their microphone. There will be 2 opportunities for citizen comments. I will be requesting individuals stay within the 4 minutes in both citizen comment sections and would appreciate everyone keeping their points concise. I would request that comments are made respectfully to the board. We are here to discuss the township's business. Citizen comments should pertain to specific issues, concerns, or policies they would like to bring to the board's attention. As we have done in the past, comments in the first citizen comment section are to be used to comment on items related to the agenda. With the item under board discussion, something that may attract a number of comments, please use this first section to make your comments. I will make notes with regards to them, and the board can try and address those items during our board discussion. The second comment section can be used for any other areas of the township, but is not to be used to further comment on agenda items. Tonight's board discussion is an open forum for the board to discuss the item on the agenda. Citizens can comment on this at the next meeting or feel free to write comments to the clerk. To respect everyone's time, I strongly urge the board not to respond to public comments, but address them in the board comment section. Sometimes this is difficult, but this is not a debating stage between citizens and board members. We have township business to conduct, and it's required that we do so effectively. If there needs to be a follow-up from the board, I will direct the appropriate person to reach out to that individual. The documents on the website are aligned to the items on the agenda. These are draft documents to provide background information only. Board, we have 2 sets of minutes. Are there any changes to the minutes of the regular board meeting of March 17th, 2026? Sharon?
I have just a comment. I don't know how to address it per se, but we need some numbers in there for when we send it to the county for our L429s and so forth. So what I'm particularly looking at is D3, which addresses, it just says motion to related to the fiscal year budget as presented. Well, the minutes don't really have anything presented, so we need either to add it and say budget and millages as prepared, as presented from the March 10th budget hearing, or we just need to add them, the millages, to what we have on this meeting minutes here. So I don't know what would be more convenient or.
I think I meant to come back to that, and I never did, because last year I wrote it all in. So if you want, I can go back and do it the same way that I did it last year.
Okay, yeah, because we have to send these minutes to the county and so forth, and if you look at the minutes, that's where most people go to, instead of just saying as presented. That would be my only comment on these minutes.
All right. Any others? If not, then I will make the motion to approve the March 17th, 2026 regular board meeting minutes with changes. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Sharon. It is moved and seconded to approve the regular board meeting of March 17th, 2026 with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. The second meeting was a special meeting held on April 10th, Any comments or changes to those minutes?
I have none.
I've got none. Hearing none, I will make the motion to accept the minutes as presented. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Jason. It is moved and seconded to approve the special board meeting of April 10th, 2026. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right. Thank you, board. Next item is correspondence and announcements.
I have none.
Mary, none? All right, thank you. Approval of the agenda content. Any changes to the agenda?
Well, the numbering on the repeating agenda says 11245.
Yeah, I know, I've got it. Every time I do the
Yeah,
carry forward, it does that to me.
I'll remind you.
Thank you. That's why I give it to you guys to look at first. All right. Did you want to add your item?
Oh, I do. Yes.
All right.
To the agenda for board discussion, I would like to talk about the cemetery.
All right. So what I would like to do, with your permission, we'll make that item number 1. And we'll move the current number 1 down to number 2. Any other items related to the agenda? Hearing none, I make the motion that the agenda be accepted as presented with changes. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Sharon. It is moved and seconded that the agenda is accepted as presented with changes. Any further discussion regarding the motion? Hearing none. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. All right. You have cards for people?
I just have Jemima and Jairus.
All right. Anybody wish to make comments on the board discussion item? This is the time to fill out a form and present them. All right, hearing none, then we'll call the person. I'm sorry?
Yeah, Jared.
Oh, okay, that's
Yeah, I'm
right.
sorry.
She's not on the agenda. All right. No citizen comment. All right, consent agenda. Anyone wish to pull any of the reports?
I do not.
All right,
I've contacted everybody that I wanted to talk to regarding them.
all right. Well, then I will move to accept the consent agenda. The documents in it as presented. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Hearing that all reports are accepted by consent, we're all set with that. Next item.
Are we voting on that?
No, it was accepted by consent. Special reports. The Planning Commission, there wasn't a meeting this past month because of the weather conditions at that time. On the financial side, we closed out fiscal year 2025-26. Performance of the township against budget showed a loss of $209,000. There are 3 main drivers. First, we took early delivery of our second ambulance. Second, we have not closed on the sale of our older fire truck. And third, we had lower road construction costs and favorable operating expenses to offset those 2 misses. The general fund revenues are favorable by $34,000. Expenses were $21,000 less than budget. The road fund was favorable by $57,000 as our costs came in below the budget that was originally set up. The fire fund was unfavorable by 19,000 for the year. Revenue was lower by 71,000. As I mentioned, we did not complete the projected sale of our fire tanker truck, and expenses were lower by 52,000. Overall, the fund was negative by 19,000 for the year. The ambulance fund had an early delivery of the new ambulance, and it came in at 339,000. The ambulance revenue was down 26,000. The run fees were under budget by 59,000. That was partially offset by the sale of the second ambulance for 25,000. We were somewhat aggressive this year on run fees. Expenses excluding the new ambulance payment were favorable by 73,000. Overall, the ambulance fund was a negative to budget by about 300,000. As always, if you would like a further discussion on our financial performance, feel free to give me a call and we'll set up an appointment.
For the
All right.
record, Bob, you
Yeah.
skipped me.
Oh,
I do not have any FOIA to update,
no FOIA update.
but you didn't ask me.
All right. Well, you could have interrupted me.
I
You just let me
Just now.
roll, didn't you?
Yeah.
And then you hit me. All right. Moving on to the next board action, we have no old business. And for the first time in my 8 years, we have no new business items to discuss. I mean, 8 years, we broke the cycle.
That's good.
It is. Alan would be proud of me.
Records are meant to be broken.
I know. All right,
It's been a quiet month.
it's very quiet. All right, moving to board discussion. Mary, you can talk about the cemetery.
So Jason and I went to the cemetery
Let's talk a little more.
we went to the cemetery last week to check on the kind of drain situation. There was a ton of water coming from the swamp. But we drove around, and kind of checked everything and found that a couple of gravestones had actually been plowed right off of their
Foundation.
foundation. Thank you. One almost like probably 8 or 10 feet. So we do have an ordinance, and really there shouldn't be anybody driving in the cemetery when there's snow on the ground, but we don't have any kind of posting that says that. Obviously, nobody should really be plowing it, but somebody obviously really wanted to get in there. And they've done it in the past, so it's been a problem. There's always rocks and evidence that someone's been there. But now there's, this is a problem. I printed out some pictures on the back table if you want to take a look at it. So I want to discuss with the board how we're going to address moving forward. If we want to maybe have a chain or something that would go across in the wintertime so the sexton could still get in, or how we would want to do it. I don't want to keep anybody from getting in there to see their loved ones, obviously. But there's no way for us to keep this from happening. And if you look at the pictures, nobody would want that from anybody that they care about. So we're going to fix it up. It's going to be great. But the point is, moving forward, we need to make sure that nobody's getting into our cemetery and trying to plow.
Get stuck.
That also happened. But every year, the past several years, we've been cleaning up a lot of rocks and debris and people, because you can't see where you're going when you're in there and there's snow. So I want to talk about it. Let's talk.
So what's your proposal?
Well, I don't know. That's what I'm saying. Do we want to actually put up some kind of gate? I mean, Jason and I went and took some things from the cemetery. From the day park in the fall. Well, I guess it was December. The first time we saw somebody had gotten stuck and had tried to back out, and it was a mess. So we blocked it off, but then obviously somebody came and moved one of the barrels and went around it. But also we have nothing in place that says, what happens if you damage a headstone? There's, how do we want to deal with it? Do we want to just say nobody's in there from October till April 1st? I mean, sometimes the weather permits, longer times. So I don't know how we want to deal with it, but we need to make sure that it's evident that you shouldn't be in there in the winter, and you certainly shouldn't be dropping your plow in there.
Well, our
I mean, these are
ordinance,
100-year-old
sorry.
graves. I'm sorry.
our ordinance does say that there's no winter burials or funerals or anything unless it's up to the sexton, and that would be up to the sexton to take care of if we needed to plow to an area or something. But nobody should be in there with their plows, personal plows, and plowing through the area where they can't even see where they're going, and then getting stuck on top of it. So I think we need some kind of, we can keep it open to or not gated off at the road access, but a little farther up.
Like on both of them.
I mean, people don't, if we put signs out there, they don't even adhere to signs. You can't say no plowing, no snow plowing. Well, to most people, it would be a joke, but to some that are doing it, it's not. So, and especially this winter, it was
Yeah.
bad. I mean, they went in there, tried several times, and they got stuck, and then really plowed through and moved gravestones. That's not good.
Right.
So we do need to take some kind of action along the way, for sure. I don't know if it's a change in ordinance, but that person or persons may not even adhere to that either. We don't keep cameras out there. Why would we for that type of thing?
And if we did gate it off both of those roads, then someone could still, park there and walk in if they really
Right,
wanted
right.
to. But it would deter anybody from, because really driving up there can be sketchy too if you can't see.
Right. I don't think the barrels will do enough if they are movable.
Right.
I don't know how appropriate a gate would look, but some kind of or some kind of big chain type of thing with flag. I don't know how that would work, but
They put it up each year and then take it down.
yeah. At conference coming up, there's a lot of cemetery vendors in there. I would like to look at some of their cemetery vendors that have a lot of devices and help that maybe they could help direct us to something. We can look at those. But yeah, they definitely need a situation resolved in a heartbeat for that.
Jason?
I mean, I agree. Cheaper way maybe be a couple Doberman Pinschers or a couple Rottweilers or something. I would think a gate, nice cable or something, maybe landscape around the 2 posts that we put in there or something. I don't know. Like Mary said, we took some orange cones from the day park and those big orange barrels they had there. They just moved them and went around them.
So if we put a fence up, and it's a seasonal fence, basically, and just lock it down once we get snow on the ground, but there's no reason to have it locked beginning in October.
No.
But the idea would be to manage it based on the weather. So,
Yeah, because a lot of people go in there for Christmas. I mean, there's a ton of Christmas decorations in
Yep.
there right now. So, I mean, we can't close it down October. But
well, I'm just thinking in terms of putting a gate up so they can't get in when there's
Yeah.
snow cover, that they can hike back in there if they wish. And if the snow disappears in January, you unlock it. And people can go back in and you can evaluate what the roads look like if they're muddy or whatever in the springtime. But what we have to make sure of is that, because if I remember where the 2 roads part, you've got the shed on the left-hand side. We got to make sure that they can't drive around
Right.
it on that side. And what's on the right-hand side? Is there a ditch or anything on the right? Or not?
headstones start pretty
Pretty quickly.
close to the road.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So is that something that we could add a barrier so that people don't sneak around that side? Does the road, the lower road, as you come in there and you take a right, are there headstones to the roadside of that road or,
Yes.
Mhm.
because that's where the pine trees and stuff
Sears,
were.
yeah.
And as deep as the snow has been this year and last year, those stone, a lot of them are covered up. And so they're just going in there. So who was to say where they would even go around a gate? I mean, something needs to be done. We don't want our cemetery to be
It's a mess in there right
vandalized
now.
by any way of a snowplow.
They got gravel from the entryway all the way
Yeah.
around the whole thing, both sides. I mean, it's,
Well, what I'd like to say is that with this rain that we've been having, it's done a lot of damage to our road already. We're going to need major repairs because it's a flood out there. It's washed away most of the road. So when we repair the road, we need to look at something to go along with that. I think it should all be in a complete package. Repairing the road, setting something up, having some kind of,
and maybe Gary has an idea of what we can
Right.
do.
right.
We can check with,
See, he manages a lot of cemeteries.
Yep.
Our sexton would be able to help us a lot there
Yeah.
too. Give us ideas. He knows that cemetery better than most of us.
I doubt he's probably hasn't even been in there yet this year, so he's probably unaware of,
He's not aware of that. I mean, I didn't tell him, and I don't think Mary did either, but
Well, it seems like a gate is the number one option.
yeah, and I
The
think it's
question is
got,
the peripheral around the gate, what we do around that.
it's got to be close to the road too, so they,
Well, you got to be careful because if you want people to be able to park, there's really nothing on the side of the entrance there, roadside,
all right.
where they could park easily.
all you need is room for one or two vehicles.
Well,
mean,
the
you're not
road
gonna get-
itself is wide enough for
So maybe
that.
we might have to make like an L shape or something.
All right.
Gate the headstones off to the right and then a gate or.
We'll see what you find out at the conference.
Yeah,
And we'll look to fix it so that then at least
We'll get it figured out.
one guideline is if there's snow out there, there's no traffic out there.
If I got to set a tent up and live there that next winter.
Well, Mary might be happy. All right.
it's a situation needs to be taken care
Well,
of.
and it just makes it harder for, whoever cleans the cemetery, I mean, that's a lot of extra time, got to get that gravel out of there. And then you hit the 4x4 post, you bend it over. I mean, it's,
It's a lot of work out there this year, for sure. It's gonna
All right.
be,
The other item on our board discussion tonight is the idea that I floated when we had our annual meeting and the budget meeting. I wanted to present the board the idea of a general park and recreation fund. I've spoken to our accountant and lawyer to get the details behind what we would have to do. Our accountant felt it was an appropriate idea and that we should move the day park and nature preserve out of the general fund into a specific fund to cover their expenses. By a show of hands, how many people took part in our survey this year? Excellent. The Park and Recreation Plan is still being finalized by the Planning Commission. There were 456 participants who took the survey, of which 441 were residents of the township. Once that report is completed, I will schedule a public hearing on its contents in May or June, when many of our other residents will be back in town. In that survey, there are a number of items that our residents believe the township should initiate and finance, and in doing so, maintain over the course of years. There's still a lot of work to define exactly what the top three items entail. The top three items were from the survey: more natural areas, non-motorized trails that are unpaved, and sidewalk paved walkways. Nearly 50% of the respondents identified those three items. Since the township doesn't own any vacant property to provide for the first two items, consideration of purchasing land would be pretty difficult for the township, given property values in our township. In the open-ended comments section, there were a number of items for activities in the community. A large number want pickleball courts, both indoor and outdoor concerts, tennis courts, and other cultural activities. Again, we don't own any property for some of those activities. The township could seek to piggyback off of the trailhead property, which has 5 acres to address some of these items. Otherwise, we are pretty much priced out of vacant land purchases in this township. In addition to these potential costs, we will be involved at some level for financial responsibility related to the bike trail. And those expenses would come out of the fund and not the general fund. In the back of the room, I have made copies of the document that I received from the trail folks. It lays out what the township may be responsible for. Further clarification is required, but it gives us an idea of what is expected. The responsibility would be for the 9 miles in the township, and most likely last for as long as the trail is there. I believe the township requires a reserve, and what we have is not an unreasonable amount. In verifying with our auditors, they are fully supportive of having this level of reserves to be set aside for the township business. The reserve also is used to support the financing of our fire and ambulance emergency services of the township for capital-related expenditures. Therefore, my objective is not to have the township ever to have to borrow from a bank. And therefore, the reserves that are on the books now, I want to maintain. Whatever we decide to finance from the ideas presented in the master and recreation plans, the remaining funds will need to be used every year for maintenance and associated expenses. Ultimately, we may need to renew the fund as monies are used up. Therefore, it should be up to the citizens to vote on new taxes related to parks and recreation activities. Since there are 2 sides of this important discussion with strong feelings in both directions, I feel that the voters need to decide on the tax. We will also need the voters to renew the 1 mil road millage for 5 years, as I outlined in my talking points at the budget hearing last month. Not only do we have a couple of roads to complete, but we need to build reserves for the future work that will be much more expensive and extensive than the past projects. The general recreation and park fund will be set up similar to the road fund. The tax would only be collected in year 1 at a rate of 1 mil. It's a special assessment similar to the road fund. The tax would only be collected for 1 year, but the fund remains open to meet future expenditures. The 1 mil will generate approximately $400,000, which is what the road fund looks like, and would have to be renewed by the voters when the money is used up. The board would be responsible for allocating the funds each year and will include the funding of the day park and nature preserve. The road fund will be on the August ballot, and we would include the park and recreation fund at the same time. I've had discussions with Elizabeth Calcutt with regards to the bike trail. It appears the cost for the 9 miles within the Torch Lake Township is somewhere between $9 and $27 million. Those funds will have to come from the state and donations through Elizabeth's group. In order to get grant money for the bike trail, I believe the township will need to handle the maintenance requirements. So we'll need to partner with Elizabeth's group to work out those details. I've received some documents regarding the trail, and they show maintenance items such as lawn and weed control, snow removal, and signage, as well as a maintenance program to the surface of the trail that will fall on the township to be responsible for. As I mentioned, there's copies on the back page. I welcome any feedback as to your interpretation of what the township's responsibilities will be. Board, your thoughts regarding moving forward with putting a park and recreation fund on the November ballot.
I mean, yeah, I'm for it. That's what the people want. It's what the survey is showing.
Yeah. And the voters will get to decide,
Absolutely. I mean, I think it should be everybody that votes on it, not just a few.
right? Mary?
Yeah, I agree. I think we should vote on it. And I think it's a great idea to have the reserve in place.
Sharon?
Well, it's not uncommon to have that sort of fund throughout the state or thereof. There's tax levies on cemeteries, libraries, all kinds of things. Parks and Rec is a growing activity, so it's not abnormal to have one. Matter of fact, it's getting more prevalent in communities. We're a smaller community compared to villages and towns and so forth. We do have, I consider Torch Lake Township like an island between two big bodies of water. So there's no place for that trail, when you're looking at trail, to go other than the 31 trail. You get north of our township line, and they have Old Dixie Highway that they would probably pick up, as was mentioned. So there's not a lot of, because I don't think Banks Township would be able to afford in the millions of dollars at all for a trail or to help keep it up. So it's, and that's just one aspect. As far as you're talking about the fund itself and taking care of, I know our auditor Trent had talked to you about the Day Park and Nature Preserve. Nature Preserve funds are at its lowest it's ever been. There's barely over,
About 5,000.
not even that. So we're, that we try to keep that up. Not that that costs a lot to the township as far as that, but there's things that need to be trees removed or things that are upkept there. The Day Park is, thank you, is obviously, I want to say, it's something we can't get rid of. The park has to be there. The park came and it's there. It's a DNR grant that we can't, so we have to take care of it, one way or another. If it's bathrooms, lawn mowing, upkeep, we spend a lot of money in the new parking lot there. We spend a lot of money in the new septic system there. It doesn't end. I mean, from here on to the next 20 years, there'll be something that needs to be done. The pavilions, bathrooms. The bathrooms were redone by an Indian, the tribe gave us grant money and they helped provide that for the restrooms when it was Kathy's Campground. The upgrade there. So there is expenses, but ultimately, we can't do any more than let the people vote. And they vote yes, they vote yes. If they vote no, they vote no. So I'm at the level as treasurer where I see tax bills. I see the people's pocketbooks. Today I received in the mail the delinquent tax payment payoff from Artis. So people, the list was long. I mean, people have delinquent taxes. It's pros and cons. They don't go down, they only go up, and that's what people look at too. So we've got an election coming up for the Central Lake School District for the Shar MISD coming up in May. So as far as having another millage added on, the burden would be to create another bank accounts and tax rolls and different things like that, but it's not uncommon. So it would be, to me, it would be totally up to the voters of this township. And we would need the language drawn up properly by our attorney and have Trent, our auditor, help with that to get it right and not make any mistakes on it. And again, if we take it to the ballot in the primary in August, we'd have to look at, see where it would be fall on, if it would be fall on November's tax bill this coming year, or if it would be next year. It depends on the language of that ballot. So I'm rambling on because I don't know how to explain it any differently. It's not an uncommon thing. So It would be up to the vote of the people. If we decide to go ahead and have our attorneys and everyone draw it up properly, we will need some kind of plan in place, in my opinion, as to how the money is spent.
Well, part of the documentation would indicate that the board would be responsible for identifying projects. And I'm sure as a board member, I would certainly look to the township folks for their opinion. However, that's why we ran the recreation and
It would be a new
park
fund on our
plan.
budget.
yeah, but that's why we had the survey, that people were able to tell us what they wanted. And that's why we have a master plan that will be coming out, because there's things in there that also will have an impact on our budget. So
Some of the
there's a
items,
lot of stuff that has
Right.
to go forward, but the idea is that we have to get it on the ballot. And at that point, if people come to the meeting in June and we go through the rec plan with all the items that were presented there and what the results of that survey were, we can certainly take a lot of input to allow us to make some of those decisions. But we would not be putting specific small projects inside. So as a, for instance, some of the language would say that the fund would be used to support the nature preserve, to finance the day park, and additional activities as defined by the board. So that's the way that would all play out.
and then are we going to get a rec plan then also?
Well, there were two things run, right? The rec plan was what the survey is based on. The master plan is a separate plan. The
Right,
rec plan is
right.
required for us to get
Right.
any
Understood.
money, so we have to get that done.
And as far as when you named off those top three categories, when you said something about sidewalks and paved walkways, I'm not sure where that would be in this township.
Well, it's once again, we allowed the folks to express an opinion, and the survey is such that, all right, do we work with the state because they have the right of way along our roads that would allow us to put sidewalks somewhere along
Maybe we can
M88?
get a turnaround in that corner up there in
Well,
88.
that-
That's the dangerous part. So maybe having sidewalks around there or something, or, yeah.
Well, there's a lot that has to be worked through. The idea is that we need a fund to finance that stuff, and then we need the people to come forward and tell us what their ideas are, and then work within those ideas. All right, so our next step, board, I did talk to Andy, and he agrees that it's a good idea to set up a fund. So what I will do is I will prepare the necessary motions that we do, and to put this on the ballot, I'll have Todd, our attorney, put those documents together, and we will move forward then.
As the clerk, what's our deadline for putting something in for an August ballot then? Do you know?
Off the top of my head, I don't know. I'd have to look on my sheet.
I thought you told me the resolutions had to be in either the first or second week of August.
That's when the ballot is. That's when
we have to have it in so it be on the ballot.
that would be a November ballot.
All right,
So having
It's
it
away.
August,
It might be like,
August 4th would be the next primary election date. No? Is that correct?
oh, no, yes, but I don't know.
so mid-July.
Yeah.
What is it?
May.
May? All right.
May's,
We had a November election and we had to have our ballot language submitted by July, so it's roughly 4 months.
Wow.
so we
All right.
can't make the no August ballot probably then? Is that what you're saying?
Well, look,
It'd be close.
Sharon, let's just
Yeah.
call the county and find out what the date
Right,
is,
right.
and then we'll work towards that.
Right.
If we miss it,
Mary.
then it goes on November.
No, I got it.
Okay.
No problem.
Very good. All right. So I'll work and get the language necessary for the ballot. And I think that's it. Thank you, board. We have nothing on the information only section. Citizen comment. Again, this section is for other items that are not related to the agenda. I'm sorry.
Are we on citizen comment?
Yeah. Right here.
Thank you.
Are we going to get moving on to the first?
Let's hear from Jared Swing.
I'm sorry. And how do you want to tie that in? Supporting the trail?
Yeah.
We'll take it.
Am I allowed to talk about the cemetery? I have a couple things.
Of course you can.
After you guys talk. Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how it worked.
For Cheers.
Yep. Yeah, I just know that roughly speaking, absentee ballots go out 45 days before the election. So the state has to have their stuff at least a month before that. So I just know it was in July when we approved ballot language for November. So,
All right.
but your clerk, the county clerk will know. Couple things for the county. The Conservation District, I'm the Commissioner Liaison for the Interim Conservation District. And I think I mentioned before that we're redoing our contract for the recycling. And last night at the Ellsworth Village Council, they approved putting in a fence around the recycling. There's at least 3 sites in Antrim County where we have some problems with plastic bags blowing around and just the recycling site looking
Trashy.
trashy. Yeah. So that's the first one, and they're hoping to, the district bought the fence and the village of Ellsworth bought the posts. So they're working together and they're hoping to, I think it's going to be a 12-foot fence around between the recycling and the Dollar General there, and getting that taken care of. The big thing at the county has been the rain. Our chairman, Bill Heffron, issued a countywide emergency. So I would just read a little bit of that. Current conditions indicate early warning signs of a potential dam failure, which could result in a widespread damage, injury, loss of life, and significant impacts to public and private property, if not immediately mitigated. The response and recovery elements of the Antrim County Emergency Operations Plan have been activated, and local resources are being utilized to the fullest possible extent. Despite these efforts, local resources may be insufficient to adequately manage the incident. Specifically, Antrim County requests state assistance to support dam stabilization and emergency management costs, assistance in the repair of damaged roadways to maintain safe responder access, financial support for increased emergency response operations, possible shelter and mass care support, food and support services for survivors and or responders, and additional personal deployments and flood mitigation resources. Accordingly, Matt Adamick, Emergency Management Director, is designated to provide liaison and coordination with state and federal authorities, and in accordance with Section 14 of Public Act 1976, is directed to transmit this request to the Michigan State Police.
Sad.
Yeah, so I know the Antrim County Road Commission has been really busy with, like today, they closed down Bridge Street in Ellsworth. The water got too high going over the road, so it's not safe for people to drive. Sunday I was there and it was probably 2 inches going over the road, and when it got over 5 inches, it's not safe for your vehicle to drive through that because you can be, water can carry you. So now everybody from the other side of Ellsworth, which is Mom and Tot Center up there, and they all have to take Rushton Road down and come through Central Lake to get around. So But everybody is working to do whatever they can, and it seems like everybody is communicating, and we have some members here that are on our 911 committee, and they're all working together, so,
We got more
Great.
rain coming.
Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
Let's hear from Mike Healy. Mike Healy.
Good evening. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I wanted to address the issue of this
Can we
additional.
hear him on the mic there? Okay, because it's kind of low.
Sorry. For the additional tax. The concern that comes to mind, I understand that the survey went out, we signed it, filled out the survey and so forth. But the thing that I think is missed in considering surveys are a wish list. If a survey has attached to it the costs of any of the items that a person might be interested in, they might respond to the survey differently. So having a wish list of all the things that people might want is one thing, but they are fully unaware of the costs involved. Now, as it concerns the voters having the opportunity to vote for this one, I think that would be good. The voters did not have the opportunity to vote for the 3 mills that were going to be imposed this year. Now, for residents right now, I believe the current millage rate for a property for taxable value is 26 mills, approximately. It's not exact, but I think it's 26 mills. For a non-resident, it's 43 mills. Those taxpayers have not yet been made aware that what was 26 is now going to be 29, 3 mills to be paid by those taxpayers in 1 year for the benefits that are long-lasting as far as the ambulance. And those that are paying 43 mills will be 46. But in addition to that, I believe Charlevoix has imposed, there's a millage of 1 mill for each of the next 3 years. So that adds another. And then we have a Parks and Recreation that you're suggesting be put to voter approval. I guess my point is you add all those up and everybody says yes. That's 31 mills to resident taxpayers and 48 mills for non-resident taxpayers who have no opportunity to vote for or against this. You talk about people who are delinquent in taxes. Every one of these mills that are being imposed on people, they're going to be very surprised this summer and next fall when they get their tax bill and they look at it and say, oh my heavens, my taxes went up $3,000. I know of a property owner that just bought this last October, took occupancy, I think in November, and the uncapping of his property increased his property taxes by $10,000. The extra 3 mills that you all approved adds another $3,600 of taxes. And he's shocked and surprised. But that's what happens with uncapping and then additional mills. And what I find really unfair is that while ambulances and fire engines are good, to charge 1 block of taxpayers in 1 year, the entire bill, when future taxpayers that buy next year, the year after, they all benefit from the ambulance, they all benefit from the fire engine, but they had no payment for it. And so what I see here is a lot of mills being charged or offered and made available to the voters to choose when some of them they had no opportunity to choose and they have not yet seen the tax bill that they're going to be facing.
Mike,
And then on a positive, different thing, when you're talking about the cemetery, I had an idea, just a thought. The gate and all that's good. How about running, not a snowplow, but one of these snow blowers through there once every time that there's 6 inches? Doesn't destroy anything, doesn't damage anything. Our driveway is being done that way this winter, and it was a very good blessing.
All right, thank you. Next.
Sorry. Herb Roth.
Yeah, we have Drought that's been doing our plowing, and they actually have a large snow blower that they drag behind a tractor. Which seems to work pretty well for preserving the surfaces better. I just wanted to kind of touch base on the Knockweema Trail again, and again, it's two sort of separate issues. The question of the price of the trail, which is again in the millions of dollars, my understanding is that's gonna be footed by the TARP group and their associates. The township is responsible for the maintenance and upkeep of the trail once it's installed.
I think that's what I said.
Yeah, I know, I'm just reiterating it. I just want to separate, because everybody was saying, millions of dollars and, just to clarify that. Some of the townships across the state, Armada, which is at the base of the thumb, has a trail system going through it. They allocate $7,000 a year out of their general budget to cover the trail. Powell Township, which is up in the Upper Peninsula, kind of on the base of the Keweenaw Peninsula, also has a trail system that they use a general budget to fund. So they don't have to they don't make a separate mill or funding for it. Calumet, which is a large town up in the Upper Peninsula, on the peninsula, uses income from tax revenues. But they have funding for their parks and recreation, and they probably take a millage out of that. But what I'm saying is the smaller towns, the ones I've looked at least, don't do a separate millage for parks and recreation. They actually take it out of the general budget. So I think I'm concerned that a millage vote is going to not go over well. And again, with the talk about having a walkway, the Knockweema Trail would not be just for bikes, not for joggers, but if people walking and you're getting around, and it just adds a different aspect to the community. So.
Okay.
Deb Graber.
Hi, Deb Graber, 1227 Beech Nut Lane. I live at the Torchport Air Park. Just so you know, there will be a fly-in coming up Memorial Day weekend. The Torchport Air Park also is looking at their approaches coming in on all 4 sides of the runways and looking at trees. So just giving you a heads up. And with the approaches and the fly zones, be very cautious about where you're granting zoning permits for builds. Comment about the cemetery. I know there's been an issue in the past about drainage. Some people had concerns that when they would dig a grave, it would flood and they were pumping water out of it as fast. Has that issue been resolved? Because I have not heard. 2, was the sheriff's department contacted regarding the destruction of property? If one of my parents' gravestones was damaged or shoved off its granite base, I'd be really, really upset. But I'd want to know about it. And I'm just curious if you contacted the sheriff's department. Maybe there's somebody maliciously going around the cemeteries and doing this. Regarding somebody needing pavement and sidewalks in our township, I mean, we have a beautiful township. We have great shoreline. We have nature here. Why would we want to pave it over? I mean, we're getting 9 miles of trails. So isn't that sufficient for walking paths and bike trails? I would think that that's kind of I don't think we need an extra fund. I obviously would like to keep my taxes as low as possible. And if it would be possible, we appreciate it if you could actually post the results of the various surveys we've taken in the township on the website, so that that transparency thing we kept hearing so much about. Wants and needs. I don't know anybody in this township that wants a pickleball court next to their house. I love to play pickleball, but I wouldn't want to hear it every day with lights on till midnight or whatever. majority of the people that come to our day park, 95%, I would say, are tourists. So this will be another attraction that'll bring people in, but how many of the people in this township will actually benefit from it? So, thank you.
Kristen Graves.
Kristen Graves, 1377 Bayview Drive. You guys were talking about the cemetery, and I was kind of shocked to hear what happened. And I wanted to say, first off, I want to start with saying a thank you to Lawns Unlimited LLC for all the hard work, the time, and the caring that they put into a sacred place. I really appreciate it. I know we have our family grave site is there, so I see what you guys have been doing, and I appreciate it. And I also kind of wanted to pose some questions to you when you guys were having your discussion. One was, have you checked what other area cemeteries do? I was involved in a walk at Maple Grove Cemetery in Elk Rapids, and I know they have a sign that simply states park and walk. They have another one that says no snow plows allowed, and then I know there's another cemetery, and their sign goes up, I believe, after Halloween, and it just says that the road is closed for winter, but they do have a space for vehicles to be able to pull in so people can walk in. So I just think that perhaps signage is needed, asking what the sexton would recommend and what other area cemeteries would allow. I think that you need to be able to allow people to get to the cemeteries and the grave sites, whether there's snow on the ground or leaves or whatever, you can't block someone off of that. So I just would ask you to use caution. And then the last thing I wanted to mention was, I know you were just discussing about the Park and Rec Fund, but I think I need to come to another meeting and ask more questions because I need some more clarity, because there was a statement that said something, and it sounded like the township would be paying for the trailhead. And it was under my understanding that that's not true, but they do have to pay for some of the maintenance, not all of the maintenance. And my fear, like, I thought Sharon brought up a really good point when she said, what about M88 and that whole area and how dangerous it could be. But I thought the worst thing is if our township doesn't have some sort of trail, you're going to have a trail that's coming all the way up from downstate event, and it's going to come through. There's already a trail down south of Ann Arbor that comes up. They're connecting. You can go out to Sutton's Bay. You can go all the way up to Petoskey. You can go to Harbor Springs. Eventually, you're going to be able to go up over the bridge, and we're going to have this little township right here that doesn't have a safe access, and we're going to force people out on 31. That really scares me. So that's just something I think we all need to kind of think about too, is the safety. And that's everything.
All right, thank you.
Jemima.
Hello, my name is Jemima Rubin, and I'm from Banks Township, and I would like to read a poem called Lines to a Dandelion by Lauren Ocker. O dandelion of the field, designed by God's own hand, a wonder of creation, you grow through all the land. No scientist in Sterling Lab a single cell can make, but from a seed by God designed, your leafy shape you take. No towers tall, the pride of man, can spring from dirt like you. By much hard work they are built up, but you just simply grew. Your simple structure built from dirt outdoes man's greatest deeds, and yet we pluck you from the ground and call you just a weed.
Thank you. All right, anything else?
That's all I have.
We'll move to board comment. Sharon?
I have no more.
Mary?
I have no comment.
All right. Jason?
I just want to congratulate Jemima. I talked to her last month, and I've noticed she's starting to look at us. I don't know if you've noticed that, but she's starting to look up once in a while. So just want to tell her how good of a job she's doing speaking in front of a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Agree.
I think I've said enough for tonight, so I'll make the motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion has been moved and seconded. All in favor, say
Exactly 8
aye.
o'clock. Aye.
Aye,
8
opposed,
o'clock, Mary.
meeting's adjourned.
Okay. We got